Hi, good morning. I am so excited to have you two here. I'm sure a lot of you recognize the guy in the top left corner, Mr. John DiJulius. Hey, John.
Hey, Carol, it's so good to see you and to be back with your great conference, Serious Business.
Yes. And then we have Dave Murray, who is the VP of Consulting for John's company. So
Hi,
welcome,
Carol.
Dave.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me. And I'll be at my first Serious Business, and I can't wait.
That's pretty awesome. You know, this year is going to be our 26th
That
Serious
blows
Business.
my mind. I mean,
Doesn't it?
blows my mind because I was there in 98 or 99 whenever it started, and I didn't even realize I've been speaking that long. I always
I
tell
didn't
people about
realize I was this old. This will be my 21st Serious Business to
yeah, I don't
produce.
remember it without you.
I know it's crazy. It's kind of my life. But the reason I wanted John and Dave to talk about this, we're doing something totally different at Serious Business that we've never done before. And I've been asked for it for many times, that people want a deeper dive into some of these topics. So John and Dave are going to be doing half-day workshops. That sounds long, right? But it's 9 to 12 on Monday morning. It'll be interactive. It will be, just like I said, it'll be a deeper dive. And they have two really important topics that I think they're way more than relevant. They're critical for today's world. And John's will be on customer experience. And, you know, I don't know if you realize this, but John has consulted with some of the most well-known companies for their customer experience, like Nordstrom, like Starbucks, like Ritz Carlton. That's pretty impressive, John.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate, and Dave's been part of those projects too. But we've been really fortunate to work with some amazing brands, globally.
It's very impressive. So tell me something that stands out with Starbucks
Yeah,
that you
Starbucks was
worked
one of my
with last
favorite companies to work with. Because I was, and still am a Starbucks fan. Just that whole concept that they started from nothing. Something cool. I like to talk about price myth busters. And a price myth buster. Here's an example. In 1973, 80% of consumers bought coffee based on price, the lowest price. Now you got to remember, back in 1973, and maybe only me and you, Carol, know what 1973 looked like of the people listening, right? But there was two choices, right? With or without cream, with or without sugar, and for like 25 cents or less, and it was Folgers and all those different coffees, right? So that's 1,000-year-old industry. And the customers are telling you what's important to them, price. But, so they thought. And in 1922, the percentage of customers that bought coffee based on price was less than 27, right? Because that little Seattle company that, started. And today, you have Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts and all these great, cafes. But it just proves to you that, don't believe what the customers, telling. We just didn't have an alternative. So you better been the cheapest because there was no experience. It was all the same until someone showed us something different. So yeah, we got the pleasure of working with Starbucks and help them create their customer experience action statement, which was on the inside of their green apron. Any green apron, any Starbucks in the world, and the customer experience action statement is the reason why it's on the inside is it's not something you advertise to your customers. You only advertise it to your employees. And that's why it was on their green apron for, close to 12 years.
That's just so incredible. I'm a Starbucks fan. And
Yeah.
my triple venti sugar-free vanilla breve latte, now like almost $9.
Right, 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 right. But that's your indulgence, right? And that's your that's how you spoil yourself. And that goes to the salon industry. We want to be a luxury item, and a lot of people are it's funny. One of the first speakers Serious Business had, I don't know if you were there yet, was the author of I don't know if it was Trading Down or Trading Up. And this is back in late 90s, early 2000s, but it was a great speaker that people would quit smoking, quit eating out, will pack a lunch, give up certain things in order to trade up in another area. And we've had that, where maybe husbands say, hey, we have to cut back, you need to stop this. As soon as they get to the salon, they're like, no, that's a non-negotiable. So yeah, and we're all guilty of that, of what we can outsource to a lowest bidder or go cheaper, but we also all have a few items, and you just proved it. Starbucks is something you're not gonna, you're gonna trade down in another area, so you could have your Starbucks, and that's what we want to create. And as my first business is John Roberts Spa that just celebrated its 30th anniversary. So yeah, we want to make sure we're on the not the one that gets negotiated to the lowest bidder.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't hurt either that Starbucks calls my name when my coffee's ready.
Yeah. And I bet you the one you go to that they know you probably don't have to tell them your order anymore.
Right.
But that's what we should be like, right? In the salon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To a point, still, some people leave their hairdresser because they won't do anything different. So you have to make
yeah. But knowing you and ask how your how your new places and all those things.
Yep. Cool. So great customer experience. In order to do that, it has to start with the employee experience, right? So Dave and John have just co-authored a book that'll be coming out, I believe you told me April, but you'll be able to pre-order it at Serious Business. And that's the employee experience revolution, which is major. So I'm guessing that for the beauty industry that you have the best lab in the world, which would be John Roberts Spa. Do you use that like a lab to test some of these things?
Yeah, we do. It's so great that we have that resource. There are a lot of times where we'll be reading about something that's new happening in either client experience or internally on the internal employee experience. And we'll be able to put it in there and have our managers, our supervisors focus on it, train it, and really see how it works before we ever go out to our client base and talk about it. And we also can follow trends, right? Because as everyone on this call knows, in salons, there are trends, right? They following the economy or whatever that may be. So we can really see what trends are out there in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate even saying this. It's kind of old, but with the pandemic, I think the customer experience really changed, and with the beauty industry being totally a very high touch industry, what can people do? I mean, for me, my bar is so low on customer experience as a consumer that I'm thrilled if I'm greeted, when I walk into the store. That's not really a good customer experience. So what
No,
can
you're
some-
right. Since the pandemic, I say we've been in the midst of a customer service recession, right? And
Yes.
why? Well, because the pandemic caused a lot of barriers, but it also, and I'm talking generally, which also brings it back to the salon industry, which also, caused supply chain issues and inflation and staff shortages and all those things. Then we have shrinkflation. For those of you who are not aware of it, is a shady way of increasing prices without the customer knowing. So let's say you like Doritos and you buy your bag of Doritos. Well, now you get 6 less chips in your Doritos or 4 ounces less in your Gatorade, but you don't know it. Like, they're still charging you what the 32 ounce is. So, that could be saying, you're in our industry, order an hour and a half or a 90-minute massage, hour and a half, but only getting 80 minutes. And, you just got to be careful with that. And then I know it's a big one for you, tipflation, right? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I actually, Carol, if you'll allow me at the end of this podcast, I want to put up, an opportunity for them to tip us, right? I want mine, right? Everyone's getting theirs. It's like, we're being asked to tip, everyone and anyone these days. So all that has caused a level of frustration. And to your point, we really have low expectations. Now the advantage that is to the salons is one, we're the few industry that you can't get online. And two, people need that human interaction, the work from home, the not leaving your house. We fortunately have to come out and get a haircut, and we have to make that such an experience and such a, and get 5 hellos and 5 goodbyes and 5 beat the greets and all those things that just refill someone's bucket and for both employees and guests.
Exactly. And with the, I know everybody's heard of it, but I'm not sure everybody always relates to it. But the loneliness factor is a huge.
The U.S. Surgeon General came out and maybe
problem, and for a lot of people like that live alone, they don't see people. The hairdresser's the only person that touches them.
Right. Literally, in a positive way. Everyone else that touches us is going to be a doctor or dentist poking at us. But yeah, right. and it, it's such a, so the U.S. Surgeon General came out, I think in August, and saying that, there's a loneliness epidemic. And it's a national epidemic. And they say that human connection or a lack of human connection is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day and, all these other side effects. And I know everyone's on here has experienced it. So if we treat people, customers as a transaction, we're going to, you might as well be the cheapest. But if we work at giving them an experience, and to Dave's topic, to giving our employees an experience, you're giving them something that is just so rare today. And that's what makes location irrelevant. That's what makes price irrelevant. When you're able to capitalize on that. So that's what I plan on really talking about at both my main stage and my breakout at Serious Business.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
Carol,
really excited about that. And the reason I love the 3-hour workshop is people will be able to walk away with with an execution plan.
You're going to work. You're not just sitting back and listening. You're going to work. We're going to share with you both topics, what the best brands in the world do. Low hanging fruit, not expensive. You don't have to, be a Fortune 500 company to do this. What my salons do, what you can do, and then you have, with your team, with people next to you, you're gonna, get time to work on this, so you get the foundation to bring it back. And it's really important. I always say, and I'm bringing my team, my leadership team from the spas there for this exact same reason, to hear your great lineup. But there's another reason why I'm bringing my leadership team. Whenever I go to a conference and I get jazzed by something the speaker says, I'll go back. The problem is I'm not going to actually implement that as the, leader of the company, but if I bring it back to my leaders,
you can do it by yourself anyway.
right? I can't do it by myself, but it will get lost in the translation through me. If I only send my leaders and I don't go, they're going to come back revved up saying, John, we got to do this. And I'm like, I don't know. And they won't have my buy-in because I wasn't there. So the best thing, is you got to bring, a group of leaders, because now you get the buy-in of the senior person. And he or she will give you the resources, time, and their sponsorship, and then the people that are going to execute it are there to understand what it looks like. So I promise you, your only disappointment will be the people that you don't bring.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I love that. Dave, I'd love to hear an overview of the book, but first of all, why now? Why did you and John write this book?
Well, it's been an ongoing issue that we've been seeing in our consulting practice for a while. There's kind of an old saying, not that old, but a saying that we've heard, middle management is where ideas go to die, right? When organizations roll out an initiative, it either lives or dies with that middle management really focusing on it, implementing, reinforcing it with their teams. So that layer of leadership is so important to organizations. But when you look at it, a lot of times there isn't training that goes with it. As a matter of fact, this book is so timely because a statistic came out just about 6 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks ago, that says 82% of leaders or managers are what they refer to as accidental. Now, how they define accidental is they got the title, but they don't have the managerial training to go with it, right? 82% of managers out there are considered accidental by this definition. And if you think about your own organization, that may be the case, right? People were promoted to the next job because they did their initial job so well, or maybe we heard they might be thinking of leaving, so we wanted to put them in a leadership role so they would stay. There's all sorts of reasons that people get promoted. Very rarely is it because someone says, hey, he or she is going to be a great leader of others. Right. So there's a gap that exists as far as how do we train our leaders to truly lead within this culture that we want to create. And so in the book, we really focus on two important factors. One is creating a world-class internal culture so that your teams that are working together are doing it well, whether it's front of house and back of house, like you might have in a lot of salons, or in a lot of organizations we work with, they have a sales to service handoff, and that can go poorly if it's not well defined. So we want to focus on that internal culture and then developing our leaders, making sure our leaders understand. Here's another statistic, Carol, too, that is really important. The number one determinant of two things: how long an employee is going to stay with us, and also how well they are going to do in their job. So how long they're going to stick around and how their performance is going to be really boils down to one thing, and it's the relationship they have with the person that they report to, their direct manager. Right? But a lot of organizations aren't focused on training their managers and their leaders on how to build that relationship, how to provide that support, right? It's very task focused. Instead, it's all on efficiencies. And efficiencies are important. We're not saying that they're not, but there has to be a blend and there has to be a good balance there. And in most organizations, there is not.
Yeah, I agree. It's so true. Sometimes people do get promoted in order to retain them, even though they don't have the skill set for that and are much stronger at what they are excellent at. So, yeah, that's so relatable. What will the attendees walk away with from your half-day workshop?
So we're going to spend yes, we're going to spend some time on a couple of things. We're going to talk about some of the important tools that are out there right now that hopefully some attendees are already doing, but we want to make sure they're doing them well. I'll give you an example. one of the things that we want to make sure our team members are doing, we know is a best practice, is conducting one-on-one meetings. So the leaders meeting with their team members, showing that support, building the relationship. But here's another statistic. What we know is that even though when leaders are scheduling those meetings, 72% of those get canceled, right? So well more than half of scheduled one-on-one meetings don't ever happen. So not only are they not serving the purpose they're intended to, but they actually do the opposite when they're canceled and we're saying it's not important, it's not worth my time, I have more important things to do than have my meeting with you. So we'll talk about, first of all, if you're doing one-on-one meetings already, are you doing them well? If you're currently not doing them, then maybe it's something that you should consider and maybe start to ease into to make sure you're fostering that relationship that you want to have with your team members. So that's one thing we'll talk about. And then going to the internal culture side of things, we'll look at communications. A lot of the clients we're working with now on the internal culture side of the employee experience are creating communication guidelines, creating standards. So individuals understand who owns what, who's supposed to do what in the process, whether it's a handoff of a client coming in from the check-in back to the provider, whatever that may be. It could be as simple as that, but truly defining who owns what, who does what, and making sure that handoff is seamless. And to John's point earlier, is actually an experience, right? That it's not just a quick go over there, but we're providing an entire experience as we go through that process.
I love that, and I think it's so needed. I think, again, during the pandemic, I think a lot of people culture suffered, in a lot of businesses. The focus.
Well, we're out there, Carol, working with our client base a lot. You know what I hear very often when we talk about internal culture and team building, I still, to this day, here we are almost in 2024, I still hear, oh, well, we used to, before the pandemic, do this, right, or this. And a lot of those things still have not come back. So part of what we'll talk about too in my workshop session, what are some of those things that maybe you did pre-COVID that haven't come back for whatever reason, budget cuts or time, whatever that may be, and are those things that should come back? Kind of a little self-reflection on where were we back in, say, 2019 or early 2020, things that were working well, and what hasn't come back and why.
Right. And I know for a lot of companies, there was turnover, so yes. How are you bringing your new team members and helping them to embrace the culture, even teaching the culture?
Absolutely. Onboarding is such an important piece of this. We want our new folks to understand how important the experience that we provide is, both internally and externally, and we want them to hear that early and often. And in most organizations, onboarding is really focused on the hard skills. Here's how you do the job. Here's what you have to do when the client comes in. Here's the system you have to open up. And very little is typically given to the soft skills. And so we want to make sure that as early as onboarding, people are understanding what we're all about, what we do as far as the experience we're providing, and how they're a part of it.
Yes. All of this is so critical in today's world. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk with me about it, and for people to see how everything that you're also doing relates to their business, and we'll have the tools to go back and implement it. I'm so excited for both of you to be there, and I'm really excited that people have an opportunity to take a deeper dive and to actually go home with an execution plan on how to increase the employee experience and the customer experience.
We're excited, Carol. We can't wait to be there at Serious Business with all your amazing attendees. It's the one conference that has so much passion. The vibe, right? The vibe, yes. that is your theme.
That's our theme, the vibe shift.
Right. Yeah. And I've been blessed to speak all over the world in all other industries, and I don't say this to anybody else. There's no one that has the energy and the vibe that the beauty industry has, and I can't wait.
Good. Can't wait to see both of you. So thank you very much. This has been awesome. And I'm going to make sure that our attendees, or even the people that are on the fence, that they see it as soon as possible.
Well, we can't wait to see all of you. Make sure you're there. Make sure you bring key people on your team that can come back and be your ambassadors for your team member and a customer experience, and it'll be the best investment you've made.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Carol.
All right. Bye.